The cold arena and the human's first night sky above was not Earth's sky. It was green and black, moving slowly like thick oil in water. Strange lights blinked in the clouds. Ethan opened his eyes and sat up quickly. Cold air hit his face like ice. He was lying on hard ground, rough metal. Around him stood walls of rusted steel, like a cage. He looked down. No phone, no bag, not even shoes, just a torn shirt and pants. His breath came out in white clouds. He touched his skin, freezing. What, is this place? He whispered. A loud humming noise echoed from the sky. Giant screens came to life above the arena. Alien faces appeared, some with horns, others with glowing eyes. A voice, deep and emotionless, spoke in 100 languages. At once, welcome, contestants. This is the survival arena. There are no teams, no rules, only one way out. Live. Ethan's heart pounded. You have been selected randomly. This game ends in 7 cycles. Find shelter, protect your heat, or perish. The screen went black. Silence followed. Then, the cage opened with a loud clang. He stepped out slowly. All around, the landscape was dead. Broken metal, black ice, and strange bones filled the ground. He walked carefully. In the distance, he saw others, some tall, some small, all looking as lost as he was. They stared at each other with fear. Suddenly, a loud scream echoed. Something not human was pulled into the fog. Ethan ran the other way. He found a broken metal container and crawled inside. It wasn't warm, but it stopped the wind. He sat there, hugging himself. Night came fast. The sky turned darker, and the cold got worse. His fingers turned red. His body shook. Then he heard a sound. Footsteps, soft, light. He held his breath. A figure appeared at the edge of the container. Tall, slim, not human. She had smooth silver skin, bright, violet eyes, and strange markings glowing faintly across her face. Her clothes were torn, and she held her arms tightly around herself. Ethan tensed. She didn't speak, just looked at him. Not angry, not afraid. He pointed to the other side of the space. You want to sit? She didn't move for a few seconds. Then she slowly stepped inside and sat down, still far from him. They sat in silence, both shivering. After a while, she looked at him, then at her hands. She placed one palm on her chest and said softly, Sirai. He blinked. Sirai. She nodded. I'm Ethan. Another pause. The wind howled outside. Metal creaked. The temperature dropped again. Both were shaking now. SERA. I leaned forward, slightly, and spoke in broken English. Body heat. Together. Warmer. Ethan's eyes widened. You mean, we stay close? She nodded. He hesitated, then slowly moved closer. She did the same. Their backs touched first, then shoulders. Finally, they were side by side, sharing what little heat they had. He could feel her heartbeat, fast, just like his. You speak English? He asked. Learned little, from watchers. Watchers? Did she mean the ones who ran this place? Do you know why we're here? She closed her eyes. Punishment? For some. Test. For others. I didn't do anything wrong, Ethan said. Me, either. They both stared at the door. Ethan asked, How long do you think we'll last? Sirai turned her face toward him. If alone, not long. He nodded slowly. But, maybe, she whispered, if together, we live. Outside, another scream echoed. Metal was crushed. Footsteps, heavy ones, passed close to their shelter, but moved on. Inside the container, Ethan and Sarai stayed still, for the first time. The cold didn't feel as deadly, and in that dark place, two strangers from different worlds understood one truth to survive. They needed each other. An uneasy alliance, loud noise in the night, broke their silence. Sarai's body tensed. Ethan opened his eyes. Outside the container, Something heavy moved, slow, steady, almost like it was searching. Neither of them spoke. Even their breathing became quiet. The metal walls groaned softly under the weight of the cold air. Footsteps passed, dragging along the sharp ground, then stopped. Right outside their shelter. SERA. I reached for a broken pipe lying beside her. Ethan did the same. They held their breath. The creature sniffed the air, a deep growl, then silence. After a full minute, the sound faded away. The thing was gone. Ethan finally exhaled. What was that? Sarai's voice shook. Not from game. Worse. Ethan frowned. You mean it's not one of the players? She nodded. The Watchers, they send hunters. Why? To push fear. To end weak. Ethan looked out through a crack in the metal. In the far distance, strange lights moved across the sky. He saw a massive creature, like a spider with arms, climbing over the ruins. This is insane, he muttered. They stayed inside the shelter until morning light. If it could be called morning. The sky turned grayish-blue, but there was no sun, just dull light. Sarai stood and looked around. We move. Where? Ethan asked. Somewhere safer. This place. To open. He followed her across the broken arena. The cold still bit through their skin, but movement helped. They passed shattered bones, broken drones, and once living things now silent. Everywhere, death waited. Suddenly Sarai stopped and crouched low. She held up 2 fingers. A signal. Ethan dropped beside her. Ahead. 2 players argued near a burning barrel. One had scales instead of skin. The other wore a breathing mask and carried a sharp blade made of bone. SERA. I whispered. We go around. No fight. But Ethan's stomach growled loudly. Both men turned. One shouted in an alien tongue. Run. Sarai hissed. They took off into the wreckage. The attackers chased after them. Ethan's heart pounded as his feet slipped on ice and metal. Sarai was faster, weaving between large fallen machines. They ducked under a collapsed tower and hid behind a wall of frozen cables. The footsteps passed. After a while, all was silent again. Ethan fell to his knees, breathing hard. I'm not ready for this? Sarai looked at him, her face calm but serious. No one is ready. Only survive. They found an old crash site half buried in snow and ice. It looked like an escape pod from some past war. Sarai pried the hatch open. Inside, it was tight, dark, but safer than the open. They crawled in. Ethan sat down, pulling his arms tight. How do you stay calm through this? Sarai didn't answer at first. Then, she said softly, I have seen worse. Like what? My world burned. My family taken. This game is not the first nightmare. He looked at her. I'm sorry. She nodded. But now, I must live. And you must live too. A strange silence fell between them. But it wasn't empty, it was heavy with pain, survival, and a quiet understanding. Ethan asked, Do you trust me? Sarai replied, Trust is not gift. It's earned. He gave a small smile. Then let me earn it. Later that night, the temperature dropped again. Wind howled through cracks in the pod. They wrapped themselves in scraps. They had collected fabric from old suits, insulation from tech panels. SERA. I leaned her back against Ethan again, sharing warmth. Then she whispered, They will come again. Not players. Watchers send more beasts each cycle. Ethan turned his head slightly. Why do they do this? To watch us break. To laugh. To bet. Bet. Sarai nodded. They bet on who dies, who lives, who turns, kills. Others for food, warmth, escape. Ethan's blood went cold. Suddenly, a low thumping sound echoed in the distance. Boom, boom, boom. They looked at each other. New hunter, Sarai whispered. Very big. Ethan's voice dropped. Where? Do we go? She paused, then said, There is a place. Under the center tower. An old room. It has heat and shields. Then that's where we go, Ethan said. Sarai stared at him for a long moment, then said, maybe. I start to trust. As they prepared to move again, the ground shook. The sound of something massive walking drew near. They weren't ready, but they had each other, and for now, that was enough. The hunt begins. Night didn't end with silence. Something was hunting. Ethan and Sarai moved carefully through the ruins, keeping low and quiet. The sound of wind scraping across rusted metal filled the air, but beneath it, another sound grew. Louder, a slow, clicking noise. Heavy, steady, ... like claws on stone. Sera suddenly froze. Her hand reached out to stop Ethan. Her eyes, wide and sharp, searched the fog. Don't move, she whispered. Ethan held his breath. The air turned colder again, but not from weather. It was something else. A dark shape moved through the mist. Tall, too tall, 8 feet at least. Its limbs bent the wrong way. Its head was wide and flat, and its eyes glowed blue like fire. The creature sniffed the air. Velthrek. Sarai breathed, her voice shaking. They don't belong to the players. Watchers send them. Ethan slowly pulled back behind a wrecked drone, his heart pounding. The Velthrek lowered its head and sniffed the ground. A trail fresh. Ethan's trail. Sarai grabbed his hand. We must split. Confuse it. No way, Ethan whispered. If we split, we die. But it was too late. The creature gave a roar, a low, vibrating growl that made the metal around them tremble. It charged. They ran. Ethan had never run like this. Not during school. Not during war drills. This was pure panic. His legs burned. His lungs screamed. He didn't look back, but he could feel the heat of the creature behind him. They dove through a narrow tunnel made from broken steel pipes. The creature roared and slammed against the walls behind them, too large to fit. They crawled through the tunnel and collapsed on the other side, gasping for air. Ethan coughed. What? ... What was that thing? Not a player. Not here to win, Sarai said, her voice low. Just here to kill. The next morning they found shelter again. This time in the remains of a crashed shuttle buried under snow and vines. Inside. It smelled of metal and ash, but it was safe for now. At Sera, I found an old food box. Most of it was gone, but they managed to heat up a few packs using a broken power cell. Ethan chewed slowly. I can't believe this is real. Are we even on a planet? Not a real one, Sarai said. Arena is fake. Made in space. Moves between systems. So we're prisoners in a floating death machine. She nodded. And we are entertainment. Ethan rubbed his forehead. This is beyond messed up. Sarai sat across from him, wrapping her arms around her knees. My people were proud. Strong. Now. ... Many are here. Dying. Ethan looked at her. She seemed tired. More tired than before. He noticed her arm was bruised from the escape. You're hurt, he said. Not deep. We'll heal. Let me help. He gently wrapped her arm with strips from his shirt. She didn't stop him. Thank you, she said softly. He smiled. We're a team now, remember? She looked into his eyes. No one ever said that to me before. That night the hunt returns. They took turns sleeping. Sarai stayed, awake first, watching the tunnel entrance with a sharp piece of metal in hand. Hours passed, quietly until the ground vibrated again. She quickly woke Ethan. It's back, she whispered. This time, the creature didn't roar. It waited, hunted. Smarter. Ethan held the sharp bone blade he had taken from the ground earlier. It's stalking us. Yes. We must outthink it, not outrun. How? Sarai closed her eyes. I have a plan. They waited. The creature slowly moved toward the entrance. Ethan grabbed the broken power cell. It sparked slightly unstable. If we throw this when it gets close enough, ... It will burn, Sarai said. But only once. Then we only get one shot. They set the trap. The moment the Velthrek stepped into the wreckage, they activated the power cell and threw it toward the fuel lines behind the wall. A fireball exploded. The creature screamed a terrible, echoing cry. They ran again, disappearing into deeper ruins. But the victory was small. It's not dead, Sirai said after they stopped. Just angry now. Ethan laughed bitterly. Great. She looked at him seriously. You still want to survive? He nodded. Double quotes, then stay with me, she said. No matter what. Warmth or death map in Sarai's hand blinked softly. Red lines moved across its screen routes, tunnels, danger zones. It was real. The first real hope they'd seen since the game began. Ethan leaned in, eyes locked on the glowing display. Is that a way out? Sirai nodded slowly. Yes. It leads to underchamber. Maybe. Escape port. Maybe, Ethan asked. Nothing is sure here, she said, voice quiet behind them. The Velthrak let out a roar that echoed through the cold steel halls. Ethan tightened his grip on the bone blade. We don't have time. Then we run, Sirai said. But the path wasn't easy. The lower levels of the arena were colder, darker, and filled with traps, some made by the Watchers, others made by desperate players. As they moved deeper, their breath turned into fog. Frost climbed up the walls. Each step felt heavier. Their fingers were numb, their teeth chattered. Ethan stumbled. I can't feel my hands. Sarai helped him up. You must keep moving. How are you still standing, my people? Trained in frost. But even I feel the ice now. They found an old power chamber. The map said the tunnel passed through here, but the door was sealed with frozen metal. Ethan slammed a pipe against it, but it didn't move. Sarai pointed at a cracked side wall. We break through here. It took them almost an hour, and each minute, the cold grew worse. The cold that kills inside the chamber. Everything was frozen solid. Even the walls glowed with ice crystals. Broken power units were scattered around like bones. Ethan's lips were blue. He dropped to his knees. Can't go on. Sirai looked at him with wide, frightened eyes. No. She dropped beside him, tore open the rags she had wrapped around herself. Without a word, she pulled him close, wrapping his arms around her body. They sat chest to chest, skin against skin, sharing warmth. Don't sleep, she said. You die if you sleep. I'm not. Ethan's eyes blinked slowly. Serai touched his cheek. You helped me. You didn't leave me behind. Now I keep you alive. His hand shook, but he gripped her tighter. Why help me? He asked. Because you see me. Not a thing. Not a monster. He smiled weakly. You're not. They stayed like that, body heat barely keeping them alive. Visitors and the ice bet they weren't alone. Footsteps approached, slow, heavy, too careful for an animal. Sera. I quickly stood, helping Ethan lean against the wall. 3 players entered the chamber armed, strong, and hungry. One was tall and bald, with a robotic eye. The second was a thin, spider-like creature with too many arms. The third was a humanized cold, hands burned from frost. They looked at Sirai and Ethan. What do we have here? The humans smirked. Warm bodies. Perfect. We're not looking for a fight, Ethan said weakly. Good, the man replied. Then you'll freeze quietly after we take what we need. Sirai stepped in front of Ethan. No, the spider thing hissed. She protects him. Strange. The man aimed his shock rod at Sirai. Move, alien. She didn't. Last chance, he warned. But Sirai didn't blink. She raised her arms slowly, and then she screamed. Not in fear, not in pain. It was a war cry. She jumped forward, fast and wild, striking the man across the face. He fell back. Shocked, Ethan grabbed a broken pipe and hit the spider thing in the side. Its arms swung wildly. The fight was short, but brutal. The players didn't expect resistance. They ran. Sera. I dropped beside Ethan again. Her lip was bleeding. You didn't have to do that, he said. I did, she replied. You are my warmth now. Light in the darkness after resting. They pushed deeper, using the map. The tunnel bent down into the oldest part of the arena. Ancient walls, flickering lights, strange symbols drawn in dried blood. They passed rooms filled with dead watchers, by something stronger than them. Finally, they reached the underchamber. In the center of the chamber stood a glowing platform with a control panel. The escape port. Sera. I ran forward, but something was wrong. Ethan followed. Why is the light flashing red? She tapped the screen. It's locked. Access code needed. Do you have it? No, only high-level watcher has that. Ethan sat down, hopeless again. So close, he said, but then a voice spoke from behind. Maybe I can help with that. They spun around. A watcher, wounded, burned, but alive, stepped from the shadows. You want out? He said. Then you'll do something for me first. Betrayal and the Frost Watcher stood in the dark, his robes torn and stained with black blood. One eye was covered by a broken lens. The other glowed softly, cold and intelligent. Ethan stepped protectively in front of Sarai. Who are you? The Watcher gave a dry laugh. I'm the one you need to open that door. Sarai narrowed her eyes. Why help? He limped forward, slow and cautious. Because I want out too. I know what this place really is. I've seen what happens when the games are over. What happens? Ethan asked. Winners don't go home, the Watcher said. They become tools, weapons, slaves for richer species, who watch from above. Sarai looked at Ethan. We escaped, or we become their property. Ethan nodded. Then let's open that door. The Watcher raised a hand. Not yet. The console needs power. The core is offline. I need a power cell from the surface, and I can't walk far. Sarai shook her head. No. Trap. Maybe, the Watcher admitted. But maybe not. You have no choice. Ethan sighed. So you're saying one of us goes back up? Yes, the Watcher said. Bring back the core chip from the North Tower's remains. And hurry. Your cold friend? He nodded to Sarai, is beginning to fade. Ethan looked at her. Her face was pale, her breathing slower than before. The cold had caught her too. Deep. I'll go, he said. Sera. I touched his hand. Alone is dangerous. So is waiting, Ethan replied. Stay here. Keep the Watcher in check. He turned to leave, but Sarai's eyes followed him like it might be the last time. Ethan's mission, the Tower of Ice. Ethan moved through the tunnels quickly, using the map. The frost got thicker as he neared the North Tower. Strange. Vines cracked under his feet like glass. He passed frozen bodies, players, beasts, even drones. All lifeless. He reached the tower and entered through a shattered vent. Inside, the wind howled. Broken stairs led down to the power core. He climbed slowly, every step an effort. The core room was half flooded, and glowing faint blue. The chip sat at the center, still intact. He stepped forward, and he heard footsteps. From the shadows stepped Zarek, the Beastman, who had attacked them earlier. Scarred, angry. You again, Zarek growled, still breathing. Ethan raised his blade. Don't want to fight. Good, Zarek sneered, because you won't get one. You'll get a deal. What deal? Zarek showed a black device. Give me the alien girl. She has something they want. A mark on her back. Means she's royal. She's worth more than any prize. Ethan felt his blood boil. You want to trade her like an object. That's what she is, Zarek said. Ethan charged. The fight was short, brutal, cold. Zarek was bigger, stronger, but Ethan was faster, desperate, and smart. He used the frozen floor to his advantage, slipping behind Zarek and stabbing his blade into the creature's knee. .zarok, roared. Ethan grabbed the chip and ran, leaving Zarek howling behind him. Back at the underchamber, Sarah sat in silence. The Watcher watched her. "You care for him," he said. She didn't answer. "Strange," he muttered. "A human and a royal hybrid. History will love this." "If we survive," she said. Suddenly. Footsteps. Ethan returned, frost on his eyebrows. Chip in hand. "Got it," he gasped. The Watcher grabbed the chip and slammed it into the panel. The door lit up. Green light flashed. Finally, the Watcher smiled. Freedom. But then he turned the console to himself and locked it. "What are you doing?" Ethan asked. "You lose human," the Watcher said. "There's only one seat in the escape pod, and I'm taking it." He raised a shotgun from under his cloak and aimed it at Sarai. "Step back." Ethan moved in front of her. "Don't," he warned. The Watcher smirked. "She's worth more than both of us," Sarai whispered. "I knew." He was lying. "But we needed the chip," Ethan said. "You were right." The Watcher fired. But Sarai moved first. She grabbed the metal rod near her and hurled it straight into the control console. Sparks exploded. The system died. "No one escapes alone," she said. The Watcher screamed. "Fools, you doomed us all." He rushed toward them, but Ethan caught him mid-charge, pushing him back into the power cord chamber. They locked the door behind him. Betrayal and loyalty. Ethan and Sarai sat down, breathing heavy. "He was never going to help," Ethan said. Sarai touched his shoulder. "You didn't believe him." "I wanted to, but not more than I believe you." She smiled faintly. "Thank you." He turned to the ruined console. "So now what?" Sarai walked to a second panel hidden under a stone lid. "There is one more way." Ethan looked at her in surprise. "How do you know?" "My people helped build these arenas long ago. They used a secret path never meant for escape, meant for sacrifice. And now, we use it as our last hope." The final storm. And the secret exit tunnel was narrow, low, and made from black stone and hidden wires. It felt different from the rest of the arena. No cameras, no watchers, just silence. Ethan and Sarai walked slowly, leaning on each other. Behind them, the power chamber burned. The explosion had triggered something larger. Final system reset. The arena began to shake, its lights flickering like dying stars. "The arena is collapsing," Ethan said. Sarai nodded. "This is the final storm. The Watchers always end the game this way. Destroy the weak, and erase the proof." "But we're still inside," Ethan whispered. "Not for long," she said. The tunnel stretched far. They passed rooms filled with old machines, bones, and strange writing in alien languages. The air turned warmer, but not in a good weight, smelled like fire and metal. Ethan's legs were weak. Sarai's arm bled from a deep cut she had hidden. Still, they kept moving. At the end of the tunnel, they found a small ladder. Above it, a hatch. Ethan climbed first. He pushed against the hatch. It didn't move. Locked. "Try again," Sarai said. He pushed harder until, suddenly, it opened with a loud crack. Light poured in. He climbed out. Tand gasped. Outside the arena, whilst sky above wasn't the green-black of the arena anymore. It was deep blue, with thousands of strange stars. They had reached the outer structure of the death arena, massive, round, floating above a frozen planet. All around them were cold metal platforms, air vents, and abandoned docking tubes. Sarai climbed up beside him. Her eyes went wide. "We're on the edge." "Of what? Of space?" she whispered. Below them, the arena burned. Pieces of it fell into the clouds. The Watchers were abandoning the game station. Ethan turned to her. "There has to be a ship, or a beacon. A signal," she said. "Anything." They searched quickly. The metal shook under their feet. Explosions echoed in the distance. Finally, they found a tan old escape drone, half buried under snow. And scrap. It was small, built for one. Maybe two, if squeezed tight. Ethan wiped frost off its screen. It needs power, he said. I have one cell left, Sirai whispered. She pulled it from her belt. Shaking hands inserted it into the panel. The drone hummed. It's working, he said. We can go. But Sirai didn't move. She turned to the sky, eyes full of pain. What's wrong? This is your way out, Ethan. He blinked. No, it's our way out. I was meant to die here, she said. They threw me here because I was royal, because I refused to follow their war. And you survived, he said. You fought. You protected me. You don't stay behind now. She looked at the drone. It can only reach orbit. Someone has to stay and guide the launch from the outside. Then, I'll stay, Ethan said. No, she said firmly. This time, I choose, and I choose you. Ethan grabbed her shoulders. Don't you dare leave me. You gave me warmth, she whispered. Hope, freedom. Now I give you a future. He shook his head. Not like this. She leaned forward and touched her forehead to his. We survive. Together, or not at all. But you must live. Tell them what happened here. Tell them what we became. He stepped back. Tears burned in his eyes. But then a light blinked above the drone. A second seat unfolded. Ethan stared. It has room for both. Sirai smiled weakly. You really are lucky. Launch countdowns, drone roared. To life. They climbed inside, shoulder to shoulder, hands locked behind them. The final storm reached the outer ring. The arena cracked in half. 5 seconds, Ethan said. Together, Sirai whispered. Always. The drone launched into the sky. Metal tore apart beneath them. Flames chased them upward. They broke through the clouds. Silence followed. In orbit, stars looked different now. Clear, real, peaceful. The drone floated, slow and steady. A beacon light flashed. Ethan leaned his head back. Sirai rested against him. We made it, he said softly. For now, they'll come for us. Someone will, she said. We sent a signal. Maybe not today, maybe not soon, but someone will hear it, and when they do? Sirai looked into his eyes. We tell them the truth. We tell them about the arena, about survival, about a human and an alien girl who refused to die. Ethan smiled. And about warmth, shared in the cold. She smiled back. When the cold ends. Warmth remains. Stars looked peaceful, but peace was never simple. The drone floated above the ruined arena. Alarms flashed quietly inside the cockpit. Power low, oxygen slowly falling. The beacon blinked into space. Again and again. Ethan sat with his head leaned back, his arms wrapped around Sirai. They were alive but not yet safe. How long before someone finds us? Ethan asked softly. Sera. I blinked slowly. I don't know. Maybe hours. Maybe days. Can we make it? She turned her head toward him. Only if we keep hope. Ethan nodded. Then we hold on. A flicker in the dark hours passed. Food was gone. Water was almost empty. Their bodies ached from the cold still trapped in their bones. Sera. I single quotes as breathing had slowed. She leaned heavier against him now. Stay with me, Ethan said. Don't fade now. Just resting, she whispered. He tightened his hold on her. You can't rest yet. We survived too much for it to end here. She smiled, weakly. You talk too much. They both laughed softly. Tired, but still alive. An unknown signal sound cut through the silence. Beep, beep, beep. Ethan's eyes snapped open. The drone's console lit up. A reply. Someone out there had heard their beacon. A voice came through, rough, mechanical, but filled with life. Unidentified craft. This is salvage ship Meridian. We received your distress signal. Identify yourself. Ethan slammed the mic button. This is Ethan, human, and one alien survivor. We need rescue. Static. Then copy that, Ethan. We've locked your location. Stand by for docking. He looked at Sirai. We're saved. Her eyes fluttered, open. Then we really made it. Yeah, he said, holding her close. We did. The rescue minutes later, a shadow appeared in space. A massive salvage ship hovered beside the drone. A magnetic arm reached out and pulled them into the docking bay. The doors opened, warmth poured in. Humans in orange suits surrounded them, checking vitals, lifting Sirai onto a stretcher. Ethan tried to follow, but collapsed to his knees. Tears poured from his eyes. Someone helped him up. You're safe now, son. You're home. A new world 2 weeks later. Ethan sat in a clean medical room. Sunlight shone through real windows. Fresh air blew through vents. Earth. Real Earth. He looked out the window, still trying to believe. A soft knock. He turned. It was Sera. I clean clothes. Her eyes brighter. Skin healing. The glowing marks on her face soft, but no longer fading. They stared at each other. She walked forward. Ethan stood up. No words, just a hug. A long, full hug. The truth spread shone. The world learned what happened. The arena. The watchers. The games. Everything changed. Governments came together. Space patrols were launched. The watchers were hunted. Ethan and Sirai became symbols of survival, of courage, of unity. He told the story again and again, of frost and blood, of death and life, of a girl who shared her warmth and helped him live. And she told her part, of pain and exile, of fear and hope, of the human who never gave up. Final scene. Years later, the stars still watched, but now, from the edge of a new station called Unity, children of many worlds trained not to fight, but to protect. On a quiet balcony stood Ethan and Sirai, stronger, side by side. She looked at him, still cold. He smiled, not anymore. She leaned against him, because when the cold ends, she whispered, warmth remains. He finished. And they stood there, watching the stars, together, forever.